Well, hello lovelies, welcome back. Alright, welcome to my beef goulash video. Bit excited about this one. Why? Because it's one of my favourite things to eat, mate. Alright, so this is pretty much, we're going to cook it the same way we did the braised steak and onions. So the first thing we want to do is put our oven on at 170 degrees Celsius, and we want to get ourselves a casserole oven dish with a lid. Otherwise we'll just use a dish and put our foil over the top. So first thing we're going to need is 1 kilo to 1.5 kilos of oyster blade steak. Yep, I went back and bought a ton more and froze it all because why wouldn't you? $13 a kilo. So if you can't get oyster blade steak, you can get your beef, your chuck, your beef gravy, anything that you use for stewing or casseroling with, okay? Now the oyster blade steak is the steak that has the one sinew through it. Now this thing here we leave in there and it dissolves, and that's what makes the meat so soft and tender after. So all we're going to do with this meat is just trim the fat on the outsides off. Alright, next we're going to need some herbs and spices. So I've got a little bit of fresh parsley out the garden. These are all, we just throw a little bit of everything in there. Yum. Now if you haven't got fresh parsley, you can definitely use dry parsley. Just sprinkle it all over. I found some lemon thyme in the garden. Now the recipe is for normal thyme, but I've only got lemon, so that's going to have to do. So I've just got like 4 sprigs of fresh thyme like that. Otherwise just to sprinkle out of your jar. I've got a little baby basil bush. Get that right. No, I got it wrong. A little baby bay leaf. That's too many beads, mate. A little bay leaf bush out there. Wow, really? So I've grabbed 2 little baby leaves. Oh, why would you? Alright, so if you haven't got fresh ones, get a bay leaf, a dry bay leaf. Nothing wrong with that at all good, you need that as well. If you've got some fresh basil, get a little bit of fresh basil. I don't, sorry, I'm just going to sprinkle over some basil leaves that I've got dry. Now paprika, I'm using an Hungarian sweet paprika, but it doesn't matter, use any paprika you want. If you like your goulash hotter, you can always, because I've got the kids in that here so I don't do it too full on, but you can always put fresh chilies in that over the top for the psychos who love it hot. Okay, 3 large onions, now a couple of cloves of garlic, or as usual I'm just going to use me jar garlic. This is going to go well today. Alright, we need a 400 gram can of diced tomatoes. I don't think it matters if they're Italian or not, mate. Sour cream, we're going to need a cup of sour cream for at the end. We're going to need some chicken stock, and we're going to need some plain flour. And oh yum, this is going to be so much fun. Alright, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to chop up the onions. Just chop them up randomly. They don't have to be small or big, just whatever. And that's pretty much it. Get the frying pan out. Oh, and get a bowl of plain flour, just a little bowl of plain flour, so we can dust our meat. So we're going to do, like I said, what we did last time. We're going to dust the meat and fry it off first, and then make the sauce up. And alright, let's do this. Alrighty, I think we're ready to go. Oven's on preheating at 170 degrees. Got my oven dish ready to go. Clean my meat up. Got out a bowl of flour. So what we're going to do is just going to dust it lightly. I always say that and then poof, poof, poof. But yeah, we're going to dust it lightly and then put that in our pan first with some oil, okay? So they're ready to go. I've cracked my tomatoes open, they're ready to go. I've got all the measurement spoons out, teaspoon, tablespoons and that, for all our paprika and all that sort of stuff. Got the stock ready to go with a measurement cup. Cut up the onions. And what I did was cut up the parsley. So what I'll do is, because you might not see properly as we're just, you know, probably going to be steamed up everywhere. So I'm just going to grab all the leaves off the thyme and just pull them off and just throw the bay leaves in there and then pick them out after. Throw the fresh parsley and I'll leave a little bit aside so we can sprinkle it over the top after. Now, I think that's everything ready to go. So now I've got to get a large frying pan out and heat her up. Oh yeah, baby. Oh, you knew it was coming, didn't you? It's one of those days, mate. Alright. So I'm going to use some virgin olive oil, but you can use any oil you've got. I'm just going to coat it a little bit so we can brown off this meat. Alright. I'm going to dust our meat. You'll know what I mean in a minute by dust. Alright, and in she goes. Now what we want to do is we're just going to dust both sides with some flour. Put it in there. It's electric, it'll crank up in 2 secs. Alright, and we're just going to cook one side for 1 minute, turn it over and cook the other side for a minute. We just want to brown the outsides. Okay, a minute later, turn them over. Come on now. Alright, 1 more minute on this side, then we want to put them straight into our oven dish. Another little squirt of oil, just a little bit. Onions straight in. We're going to fry them off. Now I'm going to use the 2 big teaspoons of the minced garlic out the jar. Otherwise you can crush 2 cloves of garlic and chuck them in now with the onion. I swear to God, it's one of those days. Alright, we've got the onion see-through and most of the garlic's popped way out of the pan. Alright, now we want to put 2 tablespoons of our paprika in there. Alright, and we want to cook it off for a minute. So we want to make it nice and roasty toasty. Right, make sure you cover your onions in it. Give it a good flick around a couple of times. Oh, that smell! Oh yeah! I love to cook, mate. Smells awesome. Alright, now we chuck in our can of tomato. What's next? Alright, so I'm going to chuck in my fresh parsley, or you just sprinkle over some dry parsley, either or other. I'm going to chuck the bay leaves in, dry or fresh. I'm going to get the thyme, and I'm just going to pull the leaves, other way around. Get all, you know, like a saw. Get all them off. Oh yeah. And I'm going to, where are we? Sprinkle the basil. So I've just put in the parsley, the bay leaf, the thyme, and I've got the dry basil, so I'm just going to like that. Oh yeah. Alright, 1 cup of chicken stock greasing. We're going to mix it around really, really well. Oh, the smell. Okay, so this is a little bit different to the braised steak and onion, as in we don't want lots and lots of juice on this one when it's finished, because we don't chuck a gravy and we chuck sour cream in, okay? So this one is not going to have as much juice as the braised steak and onion would. Now I think that is not enough. So I'll put 1.5 cups. I'll change the recipe down below for you as well. Put 1.5 cups of chicken stock in. Remember, we're going to have it with a lid or sealed with alfoil, so it won't lose it. It'll gain a little bit and then slowly lose it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it won't do it like if you had the lid off. 1.5 cups, perfect. Alright, so we're just going to cook this out for 2 minutes just to get all those flavours through there, and then we're going to pour it straight over the top of all our meat. Mate, I tell you, I love meals like this. So we've got it in the pot, we're going to stick it in the oven for 2 hours. So what I'll do for the first hour it's on is I'll get all the dishes done and clean the place up. I'll get my, because I'm going to do it with mash, alright, you know what I'm like, I love the big thing of mash with the pot in the middle. But people do it with rice, pasta, you can do goulash with anything you want. So first hour, clean your place up, get your veggies or whatever you're going to do ready. And then the second hour is in there to cook everything else, and it'll all be ready at the same time. So what we're going to do, because it's goulash one, is after an hour, we're going to take it back out the oven and just give it a little stir around, have a look at it. If you're really worried it's getting too low, just add a little bit more stock. But we should be good to go, but it's always good to check with when you're doing with less liquid. So I'm just going to get a fork now and just lift my meat up and just let the juices go underneath the meat. Just do that all the way around first. I'll clean up my pot a little bit and then stick our lids on. Now if you don't have a lid, you get some alfoil and you wrap that as tight and as good as you can, that baby. Now the bay leaves we take out after, okay? That's the only thing we take out when it's finished is the bay leaves. Now we're just going to push it down, get it as flat as we can with the juices, put the lid on and whack her in there for 2 hours. Don't ask me why, but I thought I might show you my little corner of the world. This is where I do everything from. This is my kitchen. Oh dear, I'm just about to pull it out. This house smells amazing. That's a little bit less dramatic, but I went to pull it off, and of course I was going to get my camera everywhere again, so I had to let the steam go out. So it's like, yum. Oh, this kitchen smells absolutely amazing. So halfway through, I did not have to add any more at all. Look at that. It's just falling apart. Yum. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is, I've let it sit there for a couple of minutes, but because I'm in a cast iron pot, it will cook for a few more minutes longer. So in your casserole dish, if you just got a normal one, just give it a few minutes until it stops cooking properly before we put the sour cream in. So I'm just going to let it sit there for another 2 minutes just to make sure it's not bubbling at all anymore. And we'll put the sour cream in and serve it up. Alrighty, so I've got a 300ml of sour cream, and I'm going to put, I reckon 1 cup's about 3/4 of it, and I'm going to leave 1/4 in the bottom just to do a little fancy thing on top to see if we can pretty it up a bit. Oh, the smell in this joint. Alright, so 1 cup of sour cream. Alright, and just slowly mix that in, and we are done, my friends, ready to serve. So I've done mash tonight. Oh yeah. Come on now. How easy are these ones? I love these sort of meals. Gets the house all warm, that's what I mean. It's not long now before we got summer just like that. So I've got to try and get all these beautiful heartwarming, hearty meals out. Oh yeah. Just keep stirring until you've got it all to go through. Oh, now for the fun part. Serving her up. Okay, love a big bed of mash. They're all crazy around here. Alright, big spoon in the middle. We want that nice and deep to get all that goodness in there. Put some of this beautiful goulash in. Oh, meat first. There's enough here for 4 massive feeds, or a couple of adults and a heap of kids. There really is heaps here. Oh yeah. 1 more chunk of meat. This is for the big boy. Oh yeah. Get some of those awesome juices over the top. Get it in, yeah. Alright, then I'm going to get a little bit of cream, sour cream. Put a blob on top. I'm going to try and make it look pretty. Alright, and that should melt all over it beautifully. And a little bit of parsley. Clean the plate. Boom! How tasty and yummy and filling and awesome is that? Oh my god, mate. Now, if I've got any of those juices left over, that gravy mix left over, you can actually freeze that, and then when you're doing a plain old steak or a couple of chops one night or something, you can just thaw it out, heat it up and pour it over the top, and you've got another banging meal out of something pretty plain. So, yay. Oi. Thank you guys so much for watching. You know me. I'll be back. Have a great night. See ya.